Number 10. Man climbs onto airplane wing. An Alaska Airlines plane was preparing to depart from McCarran International Airport in Las Vegas in late 2020 when a man climbed onto the aircraft's wing, causing a severe disruption in everyone's plans. Viral footage showed the unidentified individual walking on the wing of the Boeing 737. The man slipped and fell as he walked along the wing, prompting law enforcement to rush toward him and take him into custody. Shortly before the incident, people had reported seeing someone jump over the airport's perimeter fence. Pilots alerted air traffic control when they saw him approaching the plane. It was strongly suspected that the man suffered from mental illness or was impaired. Police told CNN that he was taken to a medical facility. While nobody was seriously injured, the plane had to be re-inspected, resulting in a delay of more than 4 hours. Number 9. Olivia Culpo. American beauty queen Olivia Culpo rose to fame in 2012 when she was crowned Miss Rhode Island. Later that year, she earned the prestigious Miss Universe title. But she made headlines for a very different reason earlier this year when she allegedly tried to board an American Airlines flight wearing an inappropriate outfit. Ms. Culpo's sports bra, cardigan, and bike shorts apparently didn't provide enough coverage for the airline's standards, but the 29-year-old and her sister, Aurora, disagreed. They vocalized their complaints on social media, arguing that Olivia's ensemble was cute and appropriate. Staff members felt otherwise and urged the pageant queen to put a shirt on to cover up her exposed midriff, telling her that she couldn't board the plane until she complied. Culpo ultimately caved to their demands, borrowing a hoodie from her NFL player boyfriend, Christian McCaffrey. But she and Aurora were even further put off when they got on the plane and noticed another passenger who was dressed similarly to Olivia, but apparently hadn't been told to put more clothes on. The woman, who was clad in a turquoise sports bra, leggings, and cardigan, was appalled that the airline had told Olivia to cover up. In addition to the unfairness, Culpo's boyfriend had to endure the freezing flight in a t-shirt. The mockery continued after the group arrived at their destination, with photos that were posted on social media, along with captions about how Olivia gave her boyfriend his clothes back after he suffered through the flight. On a serious note, the ordeal calls the airline's noticeably vague policies into question, especially when it comes to the lack of explicit guidelines about what's considered acceptable attire. Number 8. Adelaide Wang. Like many people, 23-year-old Adelaide Wang disagreed with the coronavirus-related mask mandates. Determined to exercise what she felt was her freedom, she refused to wear a mask last July after boarding a Delta flight at Southwest Florida International Airport. Airline crew reported that Adelaide became argumentative and would not put her mask on, despite their insistence. And when other passengers became involved, the young woman allegedly spat at them. 2 uniformed officers gave Adelaide one final chance to put her mask on, but instead of complying, she accused them of violating her human rights. She was dragged off the plane and taken into custody. Throughout the ordeal, Adelaide could be heard repeatedly asking the men why they were putting their hands on her and what made them think they had the right to do so. She accused the so-called system of being threatening, but an unsympathetic officer simply replied, "That's the way it is." Adelaide's bold behavior constituted just one of more than 3,000 reported incidents of unruly passengers so far that year. Many of these individuals took issue with federally imposed COVID-19 restrictions, including a mask mandate. But the simple reality is that anyone who chose not to follow the policy would be removed from their flight. Consequently, Wang was charged with resisting an officer, trespassing, and interference with aircraft operations. She reportedly continued to act combative as she was hauled off to jail and put through the booking process. Number 7. Drunken Disturbance. A 27-year-old woman named Dana Mustafa was on a flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Washington, D.C. 2 years ago when she began acting noticeably strange. It all started when she lit a cigarette in the plane's bathroom, causing the smoke detector to go off. Crew members told Mustafa that smoking wasn't allowed and told her to return to her seat. She started crying and told flight attendants that she had been in Germany to visit family and that they were all killed by a drunk driver. They noticed that she smelled strongly of alcohol. A little while later, Mustafa headed toward the toilet again while flicking a lighter in her hand. Employees tried to stop her from entering the bathroom, and she became combative. Federal air marshals intervened when she shoved a flight attendant and tried shutting the door. She allegedly refused to comply, resisted being handcuffed, and kicked one of the air marshals. After being subdued, Mustafa reportedly threatened to stab everyone on the plane and then commit suicide. She then wondered out loud, what's the point of living? A half-empty bottle of vodka was found in her bag. Mustafa was charged with assaulting a federal officer. It's unclear how the case played out, but she reportedly faced up to 8 years in prison if convicted. Number 6. Lady COVID. Better known as Lady COVID, Karen Fernanda became the involuntary star of a social media video nearly 2 years ago when she began behaving erratically on a Viva Aerobus flight from Cancun to Guadalajara. Her bizarre display began with an announcement claiming that nobody cared about the COVID-19 pandemic. Viral footage showed the woman standing up during the flight and arguing against and ignoring bystanders who asked her to wear a mask. Witnesses pleaded with her to no avail, and there was simply no convincing her to go along with the rules. The combative passenger refused to relent, and soon enough, security officers boarded the plane to get the situation under control. Within hours, videos of the incident went viral, earning the woman the nickname Lady Coronavirus Cancun. As it turned out, she's a fairly well-known Instagrammer with 23,000 followers. Her photos revealed that she'd been to numerous popular vacation destinations, including Las Vegas, New York, Miami, and various parts of Colombia and Mexico. Lady COVID apologized for her behavior on Twitter, but offered little explanation for what caused her to act the way she did. But it's better than nothing, right? Number 5. A flatulent flight. While flying from Dubai to Amsterdam in 2018, a Dutch budget airline plane was forced to make an emergency landing in Vienna because a fight broke out in mid-air. 2 disgruntled passengers became overwhelmed with frustration during the Transavia Airlines flight when someone nearby made no effort to control their flatulence. They confronted the offending individual after repeatedly making numerous failed complaints to the crew. Things apparently got violent after the man refused to stop farting, and the pair took the matter into their own hands. It's unclear whether he had a medical condition that caused him to have excessive gas. The pilot decided to land the plane when the fight became physical. Reporting passengers on the rampage, he touched down in Vienna to get the situation under control. Austrian police dragged 4 passengers off the plane, including the 2 angry Dutchmen and 2 women. They were banned from Transavia Airlines and had to make other arrangements to reach their destination. Number 4. Midflight Mayhem. During a 3-hour flight over China in 2018, a mentally ill middle-aged man became symptomatic and began behaving irrationally. A security officer noticed that the passenger, who was traveling alone, seemed unable to focus. He also had bloodstains on his clothing. The officer kept a close eye on the individual as he became noticeably more upset. Less than an hour before the plane's scheduled landing, the man demanded that the crew allow him to call his family. This wasn't possible since there was no phone signal on board. He began pacing back and forth in the cabin and claiming that the aircraft was unsafe. A flight attendant later told the press that the passenger said he wanted to parachute. Things took a terrifying turn just minutes before the plane landed. Footage captured by another passenger showed the distressed passenger stomping on the floor, smashing a plane window with his phone, and trying to open the aircraft's emergency door. Crew members fought to get the man under control as the plane prepared to land, according to a statement from Fuzhou Airlines. One flight attendant was injured in the struggle, but they managed to restrain him. The flight landed as scheduled, and police immediately removed the unruly passenger. While the airline speculated that he was mentally ill, it did not go into detail about the suspected nature of the man's illness. Number 3. Attempted airjacking. As mid-flight disturbances reached an all-time high last June, one man tried to hijack a plane that was traveling from Los Angeles to Nashville. The chaos began after the first drink service and trash pickup, when the man rushed toward the front of the plane. A flight attendant tried to stop him, but he shoved past her and began banging on the cabin door in an attempt to get inside. Shocking footage shows flight attendants and civilians working together to restrain the man as he repeatedly screamed and yelled, "Stop the flight." He was placed face forward in a seat with zip ties around his wrist. The flight was diverted to Albuquerque, where federal authorities removed him from the plane. Delta Airlines released a statement thanking passengers for their quick thinking and heroic actions in helping to get the man under control. After having received more than 1,300 unruly passenger reports so far that year, the authorities did not take the incident lightly. The FBI announced that it was investigating the attempted hijacking. Days later, the agency identified the man as a 43-year-old California resident named Aziel Christian Norton. A visibly shaken flight attendant said that he did not seem intoxicated at the time of the outburst and had not been served any alcohol, according to an affidavit. Norton is accused of unlawfully and knowingly assaulting and intimidating a flight crew member and is facing federal criminal charges. Number 2. Maskless Meltdown. A Ryanair flight was about to take off from the Spanish party island of Ibiza last year when crew members noticed that a woman's mask was pulled down to her chin, exposing her nose and mouth. They told her to put the mask on, but instead of cooperating with the airline's policy, she stood up from her seat and launched a verbal tirade against employees and other passengers. She spat on people and pulled a woman's hair during the disturbing diatribe. The incident was captured on video, which shows crew members physically removing the woman from the plane. News reports did not name the passenger, who was on her way back home to Italy after vacationing on the island. It's unclear whether she faced further disciplinary action. Number 1. Maxwell Berry. While flying from Philadelphia to Miami via budget airline Frontier last August, 22-year-old Maxwell Berry evidently had a few too many drinks. Soon enough, he allegedly groped 2 flight attendants and punched a third, prompting the crew to restrain him in his seat using duct tape. Berry was reportedly already drunk and wanted another drink. To get the flight attendant's attention, he supposedly tapped her back end with his cup. She was understandably put off and told him not to touch her. He then spilled his drink onto his shirt and went to the restroom. When he emerged, crew members helped him retrieve a clean shirt from his luggage. Little did they know, the man's campaign of unacceptable conduct had just begun. He allegedly groped 2 female flight attendants' chests from behind and then clocked a male crew member in the face. A fellow passenger filmed the disturbing ordeal, which showed Berry repeatedly shouting, "Help me," and screaming that his parents are worth $2 million. Toward the end of the video, he can be seen trying to free himself from the duct tape that had been placed over his mouth and other parts of his body. The young man was charged with 3 counts of battery in relation to the incident, but that wasn't the end of it. Berry disagreed with the general consensus that he had done something wrong and took to social media to proclaim his innocence, describing it as the most dehumanizing experience of his life. He denied groping anyone, accused Frontier of treating him like livestock, and expressed his dismay over how the footage had gone viral, pointing out that it would never go away. The incident involving Berry happened amid a disturbing uptick in mid-flight violence that saw 3 times the normal rate in disruptive clashes. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be stuck next to a passenger who throws a terrifying mid-flight tantrum or climb Mount Everest without oxygen? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.